95% of AI pilots fail. And the reason why is they are trying to create foundational change in a system that is designed to resist change. The only way to successfully drive AI transformation is to use a developmental approach. MIT has a project called Project Nanda, and they recently just published a report called The State of AI in Business 2025, where they went out and just interviewed a lot of business leaders about their ability to execute AI transformations. And the one thing that becomes really clear in this report is that the real barriers to AI transformation are not technical. They are strategic, organizational, and cultural. And so what this really points to is the need to be successful at driving AI transformation is you gotta take a whole new approach to organizational change, because AI transformation is not just let's get everyone to use this new tool. You're talking about foundational and fundamental shifts and changes throughout our organization, from how people use tools to people's careers to business strategy. And so every organization by design wants to resist change. What this means is that traditional change methodologies will not work. You need a whole new approach to change. And I think fundamentally, that is what the Impossible Goals approach provides. I call it a developmental approach to change because it's based on the concepts developed by developmental psychology or organizational design. And it uses the concept of an impossible goal as a catalyst, because a realistic goal, people will try to drive a realistic change through the existing system using known approaches to change. If you have a goal that people literally think is impossible, and the only way to achieve that is to shift the system itself. You got to go from working within the system to working on the system. And ultimately, I think most AI transformation is an impossible goal. Only way to get there is to shift the system itself. And that is what this approach provides. So effectively, the Impossible Goals process looks at 3 steps. One is setting the impossible goal. Many times I hear organizations come up with goals that are really ambitious, but they're not really impossible. And so employees are still going to default to known ways of getting things done. An impossible goal truly, like if a leader sets an impossible goal, your team should look at you and be like, you're crazy, because it seems impossible. And that means that the only way to do that is to figure out what has to become true. That is your opening to then go to step 2, which is asking what must become true in order for this to become possible. This is where you can use the 4 dimensions of organizational change: mindset, habits, system, and culture. Use those 4 quadrants to analyze what would have to become true in each of those quadrants. The goal is to find the one point of highest leverage. Of the many points you're going to find, there's generally going to be one that is your point of highest leverage. That you can shift that, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary. And then you can focus your efforts on making that one shift. And that leads you into step 3, which is going through what I call cycles of development. And these are just cycles that you're going to work with, usually in team-based groups, perhaps with coaching that support it, and look at how do we shift mindset, shifting habits, shifting your systems, shifting your culture. Those cycles of development are what cause your systemic shifts. And as those shifts happen, you're going to start seeing yourself accelerate towards that impossible goal. If you're trying to make yourself stand out as a leader or manager of a team, this is the single most important thing you can do, which is driving your team towards an impossible goal. What we just talked about is how setting an impossible goal forces you to shift the system itself. It gives you a process for finding the one point of highest leverage for shifting the system, and then gives you a methodology of going through approximately 2-week cycles of development to slowly start making those changes within your team. If you're trying to lead a high-performance team, follow or subscribe as we reveal the key aspects of the Impossible Goals approach.